Robert Frost was born in 1874 and died in 1983. He was an American poet who received 4 Pulitzer Prizes. Most of his poems were realistic depictions of rural life, so kind of charming scenes in the country and so on. And he used these scenes to examine complex social and philosophical themes. So behind his charmingly familiar facade, there is oftentimes darker undertones going on beneath the surface of the actual poem. And depending on the evidence in a poem, readers are going to draw inferences and conclusions. They're going to be able to fill in gaps, and they're going to have to invent motives and explanations on their own. And all this is going to be based on what the author either includes in the poem or decides to leave out. So we have 2 different meanings. The first one is explicit, and that meaning is directly stated and the details are given directly in the poem. And the second type is inferred, and within the inferred meanings, they're assumed based on the evidence in the poem. So you're not, just by reading the poem, you're not going to be able to tell, right off the bat what he's trying to say. You're going to have to really look into it a little bit further and try to figure out. So what I'd like to do now is read the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. And if there's 4 stanzas, so if each one of you could read a stanza, we can go ahead and get started.
The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
Okay, so in this poem, it kind of starts out, he's on a sleigh with his horse, and he's come across these beautiful woods that are dark and luscious with snow. But then kind of towards the end of the poem, we see that there's a little bit of maybe internal struggle going on. So why don't we look at this page here. Now on the left side, we have actual lines from the poem. And on the right side, I've come up with some meaning to it. Now, this may be my meaning, but somebody else may come up with other meanings as well. So what I'd like to do is try to draw a line between the actual line from a poem and the meaning. And if it's explicit, or if it's pretty much directly said in the poem through so many words, then I'd like you to use the red pen. And if it's implicit in that it's not directly stated, but it's kind of what we think it means, I'd like you to use the green pen. So why don't we go along? The speaker admires the snowy woods and is attracted to its beauty and solitude. Does that ring a bell? So I'll use the red pen. Okay, because that's pretty much, he came out and said what he meant there. How about the second one? Does anybody want to take a shot at that? My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Okay, good job. The speaker feels guilty and uncertain about stopping. So what he's kind of doing is personifying this horse into behaving a little bit about, the way that he kind of feels. Okay, how about the next one? And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. What do you think he's talking about here? Well, that could be this one, or there's one more that it could probably go with as well. This one right here. And it's kind of hard to see because you don't have the whole poem in front of you, but at the end of the poem, the speaker and the horse leave the woods and head home. So what he's saying is he has miles to go and miles to go. So it's kind of inferred that he didn't stay, but he actually took off. Lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. What do you think about that one? This one, well, there's already a green line towards that one, but do you want to go ahead and take it?
I was going to say this one.
Yeah.
Should it be green?
Right. Okay. Well, yes, the speaker is torn between responsibility and doing whatever he wants in life. So he's saying while the woods are lovely, dark and deep, he has promises to keep, so he can't really stay and do whatever he wants. He has to get back to his responsibilities in life. And then the last one, he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. And that's going to be this one up here. We can kind of infer that maybe the owner of the woods and the speaker don't get along. So that's why he's coming out and saying that, he's not going to see me, so I'll just stay and check it out.